on the 4th of August, in the year of our Lord 1306, the young Czech king, Wenceslaus III, from the Přemyslid dynasty, was staying with the dean of the bishop's chapter in the town of Olomucense, where he had stopped with his army on his way to Polish Krakow, intending to defend his claim to the Polish crown, which was inherited from his father Wenceslaus II. That afternoon, in the midst of a scorching summer heat, King Wenceslaus III was alone in the palace, and as he sought to cool off in the antechamber, dressed only in a light tunic and cloak, a certain man took advantage of the king's unpreparedness and inflicted fatal stab wounds on him, causing the king to die on the spot. Since the Přemyslid family of Czech kings had no male heirs left in the main branch, the male line became extinct on this day. But what had led to this dramatic event, and what impact did it have on the future of Central Europe? The kingdom of Bohemia under the reigns of kings Přemysl Otakar I, Wenceslaus I, Přemysl Otakar II, and Wenceslaus II became the most powerful entity within the Holy Roman Empire and one of the most powerful realms east of the river Rhine. This period is referred to as the era of the last Přemyslids. Its competitors included the mighty kingdom of Hungary, one of the most significant kingdoms in medieval Europe, as well as powerful families within the Holy Roman Empire such as the Habsburgs, Wittelsbachs, Ascanian family, and the Margraves of Meissen from the Wettin dynasty. The journey of the Kingdom of Bohemia to this significant position began during the reign of Přemysl Otakar I. At that time, there was a struggle in the empire for the position of Holy Roman Emperor between the Welf and Staufen families. Přemysl Otakar I sided with the Staufen family and supported Frederick II of the Staufen dynasty for the throne, who in return granted Přemysl Otakar the title of king, which elevated the prestige of the Czech lands. Wenceslaus I continued these successes, although his reign was marked by numerous challenges which he had to confront throughout his reign. He played a key role in the battles against the Mongol invasion of Europe, saving the Kingdom of Bohemia from greater damage, and his efforts expanded the Přemyslid influence into the Austrian lands. Přemysl Otakar II clashed with Hungarian King Béla IV, defeating him in the massive Battle of Kressenbrunn in 1260. This victory further strengthened the position of the Czech king and boosted his confidence. King Přemysl Otakar II also participated in the Crusades to Prussia, where in his honor the city of Königsberg, today Kaliningrad, was founded. Thanks to his military engagement and skillful diplomacy, he united territories from Bohemia to the Adriatic Sea under his rule. A turning point came when, after the sudden death of Richard of Cornwall, the election for a new Roman king took place. To Přemysl's surprise, Rudolf of Habsburg was chosen. Přemysl Otakar II refused to recognize the election, and a deep hostility between these two men quickly erupted. After the death of Pope Gregory X, who was not convinced by either side in the conflict, Rudolf Habsburg began making plans to strip Přemysl Otakar II of his non-Bohemian lands. Together with his allies in the empire, Rudolf attacked the Přemyslid lands. When Přemysl Otakar II decided to defend his territories by force, his army clashed with Rudolf's forces, near the site of the Battle of Kressenbrunn, where Přemysl had been confident. However, on 26th of August 1276, in the so-called Battle of Moravian Field, he was defeated and fell in battle. After his death, chaos seized the Czech lands, and before his successor Wenceslaus II came of age, they lost a significant portion of their standing. Wenceslaus II sought to restore the prestige and importance of the Czech king, minting a new coin, the Prague groschen, which became a widely recognized currency across Europe. Through skillful diplomacy, he acquired the Hungarian crown for his son Wenceslaus III after the extinction of the Hungarian Árpád dynasty, and, benefiting from the fragmentation of Poland into smaller duchies, he also secured the Polish crown a year earlier. However, his reign was too short for him to firmly establish his position in these newly acquired lands. At only 33 years old, he died of tuberculosis in 1305, and the weight of ruling this vast realm suddenly fell upon his still immature 16-year-old son Wenceslaus III. Upon his ascension, Wenceslaus III dealt with the tense situation in the Czech lands and reconciled with the Holy Roman Emperor Albert of Habsburg, with whom hostilities had persisted since the reign of his father Wenceslaus II. He managed this, however, by making territorial concessions to the Habsburgs, Wettins, and House of Ascania. After reconciling with the Habsburgs, Wenceslaus turned his attention to the Kingdom of Hungary, to whose crown he ultimately resigned. However, he did not wish to do so in the case of Poland, where the Přemyslid power was collapsing. In so-called Lesser Poland, an area in the south of present-day Poland, centered around the city of Krakow, the rebellious prince Władysław Łokietek of Krakow was gradually assuming greater power. Meanwhile, another Polish prince, Henry III of Głogów, was attacking Greater Poland, which corresponds to the present-day central western part of Poland, and he violently seized the region's center, the city of Poznań. The King of Bohemia decided to resolve the situation through a military campaign, but during its course, before he even reached Polish territory, he perished. And this brings us to the August of 1306, when Wenceslaus III was murdered in Olomucense. The main source that describes the death of the last Přemyslid is the Zbraslav Chronicle, which was written by the abbots of the Zbraslav monastery, Ota of Thuringia and Peter of Žitava. This chronicle states that when the king was resting in the hot summer in the cool vestibule of the Dean's Palace of the Olomouc chapter, someone approached him unnoticed and stabbed him 3 times with a knife, then fled. The guards who were outside the palace apprehended and neutralized the attacker, but they managed to do so before he could speak. Therefore, it was never determined who was behind the murder or why it occurred. The Zbraslav Chronicle states that the actual executor was a certain Thuringian knight, Konrad of Botenstein, as he was said to have been caught while fleeing from the Dean's palace with a blood-stained knife in his hand. The other source, which is also the only contemporary one, is the Necrology of the Olomouc chapter, which similarly identifies the perpetrator as a certain Thuringian Konrad of Mulhov. Current historians disagree on the motive and execution of the murder, and it is likely that the case will remain a mystery forever. It is possible that the murderer was indeed Thuringian Conrad and the instigators were a group of individuals who harbored a grudge against Wenceslaus II and his son. Alternatively, it could have been entirely different. However, regardless of the circumstances, the Czech nobility, taking into account the dynastic ties to the throne, elected Henry of Carinthia, the husband of Wenceslaus's sister Anna. However, the aforementioned emperor and Austrian Duke Albert of Habsburg exploited the confusing situation, and with the help of the army and gaining the sympathy of some Czech nobles, he placed his son Rudolf on the throne. Rudolf, however, soon died, and the throne was once again taken by Henry of Carinthia. He was a weak king, and the dissatisfied Czech nobility turned to the Luxembourg family, who had recently gained power in the empire, and elected as king John of Luxembourg, the son of the new emperor Henry VII. Under the rule of the Luxembourgs, after a period of confusion, the importance of the Czech kingdom once again increased. During the reign of John's son Charles IV, Prague, the center of the Czech state, became the residence of the Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire.